Welcome, my friend, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something really special. We're pulling back the curtain on, well, one of the biggest clashes we've seen building, Fluminense versus Al Hilal. That's set for July 4th, 2025. And look, this isn't just going to be another game. No, it's shaping up to be like a proper tactical chess match. High stakes, lots of strategy, counter moves, every little thing could tip the balance here. And the form coming into this, wow, the tension is just, you can feel it, can't you? Fluminense are absolutely flying. 10 games unbeaten, just came off schooling Inter Milan. That's serious. Then you've got Al Hilal, still buzzing, I bet, from that absolutely wild 4-3 extra time win against Manchester City. City. So both sides are sharp, they're confident, and everyone, just everyone, knows this is going to be tight, really hard fought. You can almost see the coaches pacing, drawing up plans right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're diving into. Think of this as your all-access pass. We're taking you behind the scenes into the tactical thinking of both these teams. Imagine you're right there with us, headset on, listening in, following every little shift, every calculated gamble. We want to get beyond just the what happens and really dig into the why. Why that pass? Why that press? Why that sub? It's about seeing the real art of the game, giving you that insider view.
Okay, so let's start right at the kickoff then, my friend. Let's unpack Fluminense. What's their opening gambit going to look like? The word is, and sources are pointing pretty strongly this way, a 3-5-2, a precise 3-5-2. When you hear precise structure like that, it sounds like they've really drilled this down, doesn't it? Every player knows exactly where they need to be.
Oh, absolutely. That 3-5-2, it's not just numbers on a board. It's a statement. It's built around this really stable spine, those three center backs, very experienced. And that solidity back there, it's foundational because it lets the wing backs, guys like Xavier and usually Rene, it gives them so much freedom. They're not just defenders, see? They're pushing high to press, disrupting things, but they're also stretching the field wide when Fluminense have the ball. And then, crucially, they got to snap back fast, shut down those wings when they lose it. It's a demanding role. Needs incredible fitness, yeah, but also huge tactical discipline. One wrong step.
Yeah.
Push up too far at the wrong time. Al Hilal have the pace out wide to just kill you on the counter.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
A bit of a spanner in the works. Rene's out, suspended. So Gabriel Fuentes is expected to step in. Now, Fuentes is decent, sure, but how much does a change like that actually disrupt things? Especially in a system that relies so much on that wing-back chemistry and timing.
It's definitely a ripple, no doubt. Fuentes is competent, like you said, but Rene has that deep understanding of the role, that timing, the way he reads the transition, the connection with the midfielders. You can't just replicate that instantly. So Fuentes, he'll need to be super disciplined, maybe even rely a bit more on Andre or Renato tucking across to help cover.
Right.
It might just, temper their attacking thrust down that side a touch, especially early on. Until he finds the rhythm of this specific game, Al Hilal might even target that side, try and test him early.
Okay, regardless of who's playing wingback, Fluminense have that main weapon up front they'll want to unleash.
Yeah.
Germán Cano. Sources call him sharp in the air and clinical from early on. And remember, he scored in the first 5 minutes against Inter. That's not just getting a goal. That's like throwing down the gauntlet immediately, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Cano doesn't wait around. He imposes himself right from the whistle, that Inter goal. Perfect example. He anticipates, finds tiny pockets of space, clinical finish. For Al Hilal, Cano isn't just someone to mark. He's a system disruptor. He pounces on errors, especially against a high line. Their center backs can't just play him normally. They'll need specific plans, maybe coordinated traps, perhaps even have a midfielder sit deeper, sacrificing some attacking runs just to deny Cano any breathing room near the box. That changes how Al Hilal want to defend, how high they feel comfortable playing.
So Fluminense's opening play seems clear then, my friend. High press, straight away. Try and rattle Al Hilal, force mistakes, hit quick counters, and get crosses in for Cano. Force those aerial battles. Aggressive start. Dictate the terms. But okay, this is Al Hilal. They didn't beat City by accident. They won't just fold under pressure. So what happens if Al Hilal do manage that early storm, if they play through that first wave of pressing?
Right. If Al Hilal navigate that, then their approach shifts. It becomes much more methodical, almost calm, you could say. They'll build patiently, safely. Through the middle, usually. You're looking at Ruben Neves, Sergej Milinković-Savić. Incredibly smart players. They value keeping the ball, probing, drawing opponents out. not rushing it.
Okay.
So that poses the big question for Fluminense.
Yeah.
If the high press is bypassed, how do you counter that controlled possession? Just dropping off isn't enough. They need a structured response in midfield.
And that shines the spotlight right onto Fluminense's midfield three, doesn't it?
Right.
Martinelli, if he's fit, of course, alongside Andre and Renato, their job, the playbook says, is to rally, compress space, intercept lines, make Al Hilal uncomfortable in transition. That sounds like more than just tackling. It's like a real strategic battleground right there in the center circle where the whole game could swing.
Exactly right. That central triangle for Fluminense, they have to be constantly alert, shifting, covering, almost like a living shield. Compressing space means shutting down those passing angles fast, making the area feel small for Al Hilal's creative players. Intercepting lines, that's about reading those forward passes Neves or Milinković-Savić love to play, cutting them out before they reach the danger men. If they don't nail this, Al Hilal find those pockets and suddenly Fluminense are scrambling. And remember, beyond the patient buildup, Al Hilal have Marcos Leonardo.
That's a goal threat.
Huge threat. Red hot form, 3 goals recently, absolutely lethal on the break. If Fluminense lose the ball carelessly in midfield, he's gone. His pace and finishing can punish you instantly.
And Al Hilal don't just come through the middle. They love using the width, too. Those fullbacks, Cancelo and Lodi, dynamic players.
Yeah.
They don't just hug the touchline. They properly overload the flanks, don't they?
Right.
That could really stretch Fluminense, create 2v1s against the wingbacks. Especially tricky maybe with Fuentes settling in for René.
That width from Cancelo and Lodi is a major problem to solve. It gives Al Hilal so many options. They combine with wingers, they overlap for crosses, they can even cut inside and shoot themselves, puts massive strain on Fluminense's shape, particularly those 3 center backs, Silva, Freitas, Ignacio. They have to stay so compact. Constant communication needed to cover when those fullbacks bomb on. But here's something fascinating, my friend, and maybe easy to miss amidst all the big plays, how vital those little corners and short spells become, especially later in a half. Both these teams average under 2.5 goals a game, right? That screams tight matches, low-scoring affairs. So a set piece, that could easily be the difference.
Yeah, good point.
Every corner, every free kick near the box, potentially decisive. It really hammers home how fine the margins are going to be and how much work goes into prepping those moments.
So, okay, let's think about how this plays out as the game wears on. Second half, maybe. Sources point to this really interesting psychological angle from Fluminense, almost like a rope-a-dope. They use that older, experienced squad to press hard early, but maybe also to kind of bait fatigue, wear the opposition down, and then they unleash the fresh legs, subs who relish late-game bursts, like counterpunchers sitting back waiting.
It's a really smart strategy, actually. Leverage the experience, the game management of the starters to grind the opponent down. Then, bang. Inject pace and energy exactly when the other team is starting to feel it. Mid-game, look, if Al Hilal are consistently breaking that press, finding space comfortably, you might see Fluminense adjust. Maybe tilt into a 5-4-1.
Right, to absorb pressure.
Exactly. Not weakness, it's a calculated shift. Create an even more solid block, deny space, frustrate them. On the flip side, Al Hilal might react too. Maybe they shift to a 4-2-3-1 or even a 4-3-3, trying to get Marcos Leonardo more isolated up front, maybe with Malcolm and Cano closer, looking for that quick interchange or through ball. It really becomes, like you said before, that crucial midfield tug of war. It's not just about who has the ball, but who controls the tempo, who controls the space. Whoever wins that central battle likely dictates the whole flow.
And Fluminense's defensive goal in that phase sounds like it's about forcing bad shots, limiting Al Hilal to pot shots from distance. The playbook mentions Al Hilal might sit heavily behind the ball if pressed too hard, just hoping for a set piece or a long ball. So frustrating them into hopeful shots seems key to Fluminense's plan. Stop that incisive build-up they like. Okay, let's jump forward. The crunch time. Last 20 minutes, maybe even beyond that. What's the plan if Fluminense are, say, a goal up after 70 minutes? How do they see it out?
Right, if you're leading late, expect Fluminense to really tighten things up. That high press will probably ease off. They'll look to get compact, maybe bring on someone like Gonçalo.
Good possession.
Exactly. Yeah. Just control the ball, kill the tempo, deny Al Hilal any rhythm, frustrate them, draw fouls, break up play, make the clock their friend, suffocate the game. But if Fluminense are down a goal, that's different. They have to gamble then. You might see attacking changes. Maybe Soteldo, maybe Canobio comes on. Players with pace, dribbling ability.
Just stretch them.
Yes, stretch the Al Hilal defense, create those overloads out wide, risk more to find that equalizer, but, and this is critical, my friend, Their shape mustn't break. They can't get too ragged chasing the game.
Because AlHilal will punish them on the counter.
Instantly. If gaps appear because they're pushing too hard, AlHilal have the quality to exploit it. It's that fine line, aggression versus discipline.
And then extra time.
Yeah.
Which, given everything we've said about these teams being tight, low scoring, feels like a real possibility, doesn't it? What happens then? Is it just fitness, or is strategy still key?
That's where Fluminense, interestingly, as that older, disciplined crew, they actually thrive. It sounds counterintuitive, maybe. You think the older legs would tire first.
Yeah, you would.
But they are drilled for it. They maintain their shape, their possession incredibly well in those extended periods. It comes down to that tactical discipline and, yeah, that sports psychology program they have. Often it's the opponent who cracks first. Physically, mentally, from chasing the ball, covering space against a team that just keeps it, frustrates them. And what's fascinating, my friend, is how often these extra time periods in tight games get decided by something small, like a set piece, a long throw, a recycled corner. It just highlights those fine margins again. One moment, one lapse when everyone's exhausted, that can be it. Coaches drill these moments relentlessly for exactly that reason. Fatigue creates chances.
And that links perfectly back to what you said about Fluminense's late subs having that energy boost, right? It's not just random. The source mentions their sports psychology funding. It lets them blitz the last 15 minutes with fresh intensity.
Yeah.
That feels like a massive edge, almost unfair when everyone else is running on fumes.
It is a significant edge, absolutely. That funding isn't just, positive thinking. It translates physically. Rigorous prep, specific recovery, understanding player capacity deeply. When those late subs come on, it's calculated. They're deploying players specifically conditioned for those explosive bursts in the final moments. They know who can make those runs, who has the mental strength when things get tough. It's a deliberate tactic to overwhelm tired bodies and minds. And it's worked for them before. It's a hallmark.
So, my friend, let's just quickly recap this whole tactical playbook we've kind of sketched out for you. Fluminense, aggressive high press early on to unsettle AlHilal, then maybe a shift, soak up some pressure mid-game, look for those late counters, be deadly on set pieces, and crucially use those fresh legs, that energy from the bench, for a final push. It's quite a plan, isn't it?
It really is. When you break it down, the key things for Fluminense look like keeping tabs on Cancelo and Lodi, stopping those overloads, absolutely disrupting Neves' rhythm in midfield, that's huge, making Marcos Leonardo chase, not run onto killer passes, managing René's absence calmly, staying compact defensively, controlling the counterattacks, and timing those subs perfectly. Understanding all that, my friend, it puts you right there. Like you're sitting beside the coaching staff, you've got the insider seat, no secrets leaked, obviously, but you see the real art, the real strategy of the match laid out.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on them. Thinking about Fluminense's whole approach, that psychological game, baiting fatigue, using that sports science for a late physical edge, how much do you reckon mental strength, that mental fortitude, really decides these massive games, beyond the skills, beyond the tactics? Is that the ultimate difference maker when two top teams are so evenly matched? Something to ponder until next time.